Let's get started with our first news. Islam Makhachev wants to change the pound-for-pound rankings. In a recent live stream, Islam was asked what one thing he would change in the UFC, and without hesitation, he said the pound-for-pound rankings. He believes the current system doesn't truly represent the best fighters in the organization. And he even revealed his own personal list of the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in the UFC right now. When asked, if you had to rank your personal top 5 pound-for-pound currently in the UFC, who would it be? Islam took a moment, then confidently started listing his picks. Myself, he said first with a smile. Then he added, this guy, Pantoja. After that, he mentioned, and Aspen. He paused for a moment, trying to recall, then continued. What else? How many? 4. That's 4. You got one more. He nodded and wrapped it up. According to Islam, the order should be himself as number 1, Alexandre Pantoja as number 2, Tom Aspinall as number 3, Alexander Volkanovski as number 4, and surprisingly, Ilya at number 5. Yes, Ilya, despite the two being in an ongoing feud. It was quite an unexpected addition, considering their recent back and forths. This list clearly shows how Islam views the current competitive landscape. He respects champions from other divisions, especially those who have consistently defended their titles and proven their dominance. His inclusion of Ilya hints that even though there's tension, he still acknowledges Ilya's incredible rise and performances inside the octagon. Islam's list stirred up a lot of discussion among fans. Some agreed with his ranking, saying that he has every right to consider himself number 1, especially given his dominance and recent title defenses. Others felt the list left out fighters like Sean O'Malley or Leon Edwards, who have also been performing at an elite level. But Islam made it clear. These are his personal rankings, not based on popularity or promotion, but on what he believes represents true skill and consistency. And lastly, ahead of his massive fight this weekend, the UFC has released a new anti-piracy ad featuring Makhachev himself. The ad, produced entirely in Russian, is being aired exclusively in Russia. In the short clip, a man is caught pirating a UFC event, and the consequence is serious. He's sentenced to 2 to 3 years in Dagestan. The message is clear. The UFC is stepping up its fight against illegal streaming, and they're using one of their biggest stars to deliver that warning. With Islam focused on his upcoming bout and voicing his opinions on the pound-for-pound rankings, it's clear he's not just fighting inside the cage, he's also shaping the conversation outside of it. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier is not happy with Jon Jones for his recent comments about Tom Aspinall. Following the no-contest bout between Aspinall and Cyril Gane, Jones took to social media to criticize the interim heavyweight champion, calling him overrated and claiming the fight exposed him as a one-trick pony. But Daniel Cormier, never one to hold back when it comes to Jon Jones, had plenty to say in response. The UFC 321 main event ended in controversy after Aspinall informed officials he couldn't see due to 2 accidental eye pokes from Gane. Before that, Gane had managed to land a few sharp punches that bloodied Aspinall early. Still, the fight barely lasted 4 minutes before being stopped. Jones, however, wasted no time jumping on the opportunity to discredit Aspinall, saying that the British heavyweight showed major weaknesses in both his striking and his ground game. During a recent episode of the No Scripts podcast, Cormier fired back at those claims. He said that Jones was being unfair and overly critical, especially considering the circumstances of the fight. Cormier stated, "Maybe Tom Aspinall isn't what Jon built him up to be in his mind prior to that fight, but I don't know that we saw enough to form an opinion of his overall game in 4 minutes. It's just the truth," he continued, by pointing out that fights can change dramatically in a short amount of time, and that early struggles don't always tell the whole story. Cormier emphasized that fans and fighters alike need to show a bit more patience and understanding. Can we really form that strong of an opinion based on 4 minutes? Does Tom Aspinall not deserve a little grace? Are we reacting this way only because we've never seen him struggle at all? He asked during the discussion. The former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion went on to say, and also, how much can you struggle in 4 minutes? He had a bloody nose. And I think because he had a bloody nose, people started feeling like, oh my god, this dude's in trouble. But again, there were still 21 minutes left in the fight. Cormier then drew a powerful comparison, recalling how even the great Khabib Nurmagomedov lost a round to Justin Gaethje before coming back to dominate and finish the fight. A lot can change between minute 4 and minute 25. Cormier reminded listeners, it's clear that Cormier believes Jones is being too harsh and perhaps using Aspinall's brief struggle as another way to stir up attention. Once again, the tension between these two legends of the sport is back in the spotlight, and neither man seems ready to back down anytime soon. Move on to another news. Jake Paul was reportedly in talks to fight Alex Pereira in a boxing match. That's right. Jake Paul claims that discussions actually took place about setting up a potential showdown with the UFC's two-division champion. With his scheduled bout against Gervonta "Tank" Davis now officially canceled, Jake has been scrambling to line up a new opponent, and it seems Pereira's name quickly made its way to the top of the list. The planned November 14th fight between Jake and Tank Davis was called off after news broke that Tank's ex-girlfriend had filed a civil lawsuit against him, leading Jake's promotion to cancel the entire event. Since then, Jake has been vocal about his next move, dropping several big names, including Francis Ngannou. But in a recent interview with ESPN, Jake revealed that Alex Pereira's team had already expressed genuine interest in making the fight happen. Jake said, "His team is down to do the fight. I think the only thing preventing it is the UFC. And if these guys can get out of their contracts to fight me, it would be a massive fight at some point. I know he's down to make it happen." Jake seems confident that Pereira is open to the idea, but as always, the UFC's tight contractual grip on its fighters is a major obstacle. Jake's business partner, Nakisa, also spoke with ESPN and echoed those same thoughts. "I think that is a perfect fight to further show Jake's dominance over the best of the best in MMA," Nakisa said. "I think many would dismiss it and say Pereira would destroy Jake Paul, but somebody should ask Dana White and see what he says. If Dana ever actually felt comfortable that one of his martial artists could beat Jake Paul, he would 100% endorse it. Because no matter what Dana may say, there'd be nothing he would enjoy more than seeing Jake Paul lose." It's no secret that Jake and Dana White have had a long, bitter feud. Jake has spent years publicly calling out Dana over fighter pay and UFC contracts, while Dana has consistently dismissed Jake's boxing career as a sideshow. Still, if there's one opponent who could truly test Jake Paul's striking and draw massive pay-per-view numbers, it's Alex Pereira, one of the most feared knockout artists in the world. Unfortunately, given Pereira's current UFC obligations and the promotion's plans for his future title defenses, this fight seems highly unlikely to happen anytime soon. But one thing's for sure, the idea of Jake Paul stepping into the ring with a monster like Pereira has already sent shockwaves through both the MMA and boxing worlds. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has revealed that he's interested in a fight with Kamaru Usman. During a recent appearance on Aiden Ross's livestream, Islam took questions from fans and gave some surprising answers about his future plans. One viewer asked who he would like to face if he successfully wins his upcoming fight and captures another UFC belt. Without hesitation, Islam said the name no one expected, Kamaru Usman. In the stream, Aiden read a question from the chat asking, "After Jack, who do you want to fight next?" Islam smiled and replied, "After Jack, I think. Bilal or maybe Kamaru." He paused for a second before adding, "Kamaru. He was here before, had the most title defenses in welterweight. Now he is in a good position, a good challenge." That simple statement immediately caught the attention of fans around the world, as it hinted at Islam's interest in moving up to welterweight for another massive test. Usman, the former long-reigning welterweight champion, is widely regarded as one of the greatest to ever compete in that division. Even though he's had some setbacks recently, his legacy of dominance and wrestling ability remains unmatched. For Islam, who has already conquered the lightweight division, a fight with Usman would represent the ultimate step toward becoming a two-division champion and solidifying his claim as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Islam has often spoken about his desire to challenge himself beyond his current weight class. After already defending his title against elite contenders, the idea of moving up and facing a legend like Usman clearly motivates him. "I like challenges," Islam said on the stream. "Kamaru, he's strong, good wrestler, smart fighter. It would be big fight." Fans immediately flooded the live chat with excitement, imagining what that matchup could look like. The elite grappling of Makhachev against the powerful wrestling and striking of Usman. It would be a true battle of technique, strength, and championship experience. Many also noted how respectful Islam's tone was, acknowledging Usman's achievements while still making it clear he's ready to test himself against the very best. Right now, Islam is focused on his upcoming fight with JDM, but if he gets past that challenge, his eyes might already be set on another history-making opportunity. A showdown between Islam Makhachev and Kamaru Usman could be one of the biggest super fights the UFC has ever seen. And it's clear that Islam is more than ready to make that move when the time comes. On to another news, Nickal has opened up about his recent TKO loss to RDR. The highly touted middleweight appeared on Jorge Masvidal's podcast earlier today, where he reflected on what went wrong in that fight and how it changed his mindset going forward. Bo is set to return to action this weekend at UFC 322, where he'll take on Rodolfo Vieira, but before that, he wanted to be honest about the lessons he learned from that tough night against RDR. "I came in shape and what I thought was prepared," Bo said. "When the knees started landing, the first one I was like, no big deal. The second one, same thing. But by the end of the first round, he had landed probably 7 or 8 that were pretty clean." He went on to explain how the accumulation of strikes started to take its toll. "The first few didn't feel like much, but all of a sudden it added up. Then I was like, this is not good. It got heavy, my body felt slower, and my reaction time went down." Bo admitted that this was the first time in his career he had really absorbed significant damage in a fight. "I've never really been hit hard before, never really had damage done to me," he said. "And it shifted my mindset because in the fight, I felt like I was controlling him. I had him against the cage, his back was there, and I felt like I could take him down any time." Masvidal, listening to Bo's story, offered some insight. "See, that's where I think you made a mistake," Jorge said. "It's not about your skill, it's about strategy. RDR is great, man, but if you took him down, I don't think he's getting away from you, and I don't see him submitting you either. You've got the tools. Maybe just a little bit of game planning, putting him on his back instead of pressing him against the cage could change everything. If he's on his back, he's eating elbows instead of throwing knees." Bo nodded, agreeing with the breakdown. "Yeah, for sure," he said. "I think part of it comes from my wrestling background. I'm used to controlling guys, scoring points, and just maintaining position, but a fight is different. You can't just control, you've got to damage. You've got to finish." This honest reflection showed a new side of Bo Nickal, one that understands how the transition from elite wrestling to elite MMA is more than just physical. It's about adapting strategy, learning from mistakes, and evolving with every fight. As he prepares to step into the octagon again at UFC 322, Bo seems determined to prove that the loss to RDR was just a lesson, not a setback. Move on to another news. Arman is not happy with the UFC over what he calls unfair treatment towards Russian fighters. In a new video uploaded to his YouTube channel, the lightweight contender didn't hold back, taking direct shots at the promotion and revealing some surprising details about his situation ahead of his next fight. Arman was asked why he keeps calling Dan Hooker a clown, and his response quickly turned into a broader criticism of how he feels the UFC handles fighters from Russia compared to others on the roster. Arman explained that as of November, he still hadn't signed the contract for the fight with Hooker. Called him a clown. "Isn't he a clown?" Arman said. "He says one thing then another. First he says he'll fight, then he says he won't. First he wanted me to fight in June, then June passed a long time ago. It's already November and he still hasn't signed the contract. So yeah, he's a clown." His frustration was clear, but that wasn't all he had to say. He went on to accuse the UFC of giving preferential treatment to non-Russian fighters while leaving Russian athletes with very little control over their careers. "They have a choice. It's only us who have no choice," Arman said. "Fighters from Russia, we do what the UFC tells us. If you dare deny one fight offer, you'll be blacklisted." These strong words highlight a growing tension between the promotion and its international talent pool. Arman feels that while fighters from other countries can often negotiate opponents or timing, Russian fighters are pressured to accept whatever the UFC offers, or risk being sidelined. For someone as highly ranked and respected as Arman, it's clear that the situation has reached a boiling point. His comments come at a time when many fans have noticed similar frustrations from other Russian and Eastern European fighters who've spoken about difficulties getting fair matchups or promotional push. For Arman, it's not just about one fight, it's about fairness and respect. He believes that all fighters, regardless of nationality, should be given the same treatment and opportunities. Despite the tension, Arman remains focused on his upcoming bout, which the UFC still hasn't officially finalized. His rivalry with Hooker continues to grow, especially after months of back-and-forth exchanges. But beyond that, his message to the UFC was loud and clear. He wants equality, consistency, and recognition for the hard work and dedication that fighters from his region bring to the sport. With his comments now circulating widely, fans are paying close attention to how the UFC responds, and whether Arman's outspoken stance could lead to real change in how the organization handles its international stars. Move on to another news. DC and Khabib were back at it again, talking trash like only they can. The two longtime friends and training partners have one of the funniest and most genuine relationships in all of MMA, and their latest exchange proves it once again. During a lighthearted discussion, Khabib couldn't resist taking a few playful shots at Daniel Cormier about who had the better career. Khabib started off by saying, "2018, it was my best year too. I became champion. I defended my title in the biggest fight in MMA history. Who was better?" DC laughed and replied, "You want me to tell you? It was me, double champ. I was better." But Khabib wasn't having it. He shook his head and fired back, No, double champ, no. I was better." The back and forth had everyone everyone in the room cracking up. Then Khabib reminded DC of something from his retirement fight. You know what the best part was? When you retired in Abu Dhabi, you talked, Khabib said, laughing. When you left the octagon, you said, DC, I love you, brother. Last words in the octagon. DC immediately protested, waving his hands and saying, No! I didn't say that. I have to check. I have to check this. Khabib burst out laughing and replied, Don't change this, leave it. I swear you said this 1000%. DC! Last thing Khabib ever say in octagon, DC, I love you, brother. Both men were cracking up, and the room was filled with laughter. DC tried to defend himself, saying, I never said that, but Khabib was adamant, doubling down with his usual grin, saying, You did, I swear. It was a classic moment between two legends, competitive, hilarious, and filled with mutual respect. But the fun didn't stop there. Khabib also brought up another time DC translated for him after a fight, and let's just say he wasn't too happy about it. Whenever somebody fights and you translate, this is why this guy brings me like this, Khabib said while laughing. Honestly, I don't like this. You remember I went for an interview and I said, Khabib, come, and you translated and said, you can't do this. DC started laughing uncontrollably, realizing exactly what moment he was talking about. The internet loved every second of it. Fans immediately started turning the exchange into memes. The number 3 meme came from Clipped Fighting, number 2 was posted by Tiny Replacement, and the number 1 meme of the moment came from Carmox, capturing the hilarious chemistry between DC and Khabib perfectly. Moments like this remind fans why the friendship between these two legends is so loved. They can roast each other, laugh about their careers, and still show nothing but brotherhood, a bond that continues long after their fighting days are done.